Welcome to the Flourish with Dr. B podcast. Our mission is inspiring people to flourish in mind, body, and spirit. And I'm Dr. B. I just thought I would just come on here and pop on for a few brief moments to talk about 5 ways to flourish every day, just 5 steps. And for those of you that have read my first book, Mom, I Want to Be a Fighter, back in 2022, I write about something called S.W.E.D.S, S.W.E.D.S, And it's my own little mnemonic, something that I help clients to deal with when they're in stuck or in a rut. I always do this S.W.E.D.S. It's like a checkup from the neck up with Dr. B. And I use it for myself too, quite honestly. So S.W.E.D.S is sleep, right? So getting good, adequate amount of sleep every night, at least 7 to 9 hours of uninterrupted, restorative sleep. So that doesn't mean that you get up twice a night, maybe go to the bathroom, come back, not able to fall asleep, maybe check your phone. Not talking about that. Talking about deep sleep. Okay. And then so 7 to 9 hours of deep uninterrupted sleep. W is water. We are at least 90% water, all of our cells, everything. And we don't even realize a lot of times when we're hungry, it's actually that we're dehydrated. So good rule of thumb, again, you have to check with your physician, but a good rule of thumb is about half your weight in your body weight in ounces. What does that mean? If you weigh 150 pounds, 75 ounces worth of water you should be drinking every day. That could be also include like a form of tea that's not sweetened, and preferably not heavily caffeinated, but that does not include sodas or sparkling waters or anything like that, or anything sweetened like juices. So half your body weight in ounces of water. Okay. And then SWE is exercise, of course. And, the American Academy of Cardiology always says 30 minutes a day for at least 5 days a week. And some of us, we actually don't want to do that, which is totally normal. I'm one of them. So I really try to, at least I trick my body, right? I'm like, okay, at least 15 minutes of walking. And then it always ends up being more. And then also for people going through midlife, um, strength training is important because we need to build up our muscles. When we build up our muscles, because we have what's called muscle atrophy as we age, we're also helping to boost our metabolism. So that's so important as we get to middle age and above, because we lose muscle mass, and that we also our metabolism also decreases. Okay, so that leads us to D, which is diet. Again, anybody, but especially during the midlife time, we're losing muscle mass. So eating a very lean, high protein diet can help you maintain your muscle mass, and that's important. Clean foods, things that don't have a lot of preservatives, that are not ultra processed, and reducing sugar and salt intake. We'll have definitely other podcasts on all these different topics, and I will invite guests that can speak on these topics as well. But for now, let's just stick to the S.W.E.D.S, right? The checkup from the neck up. So that's diet. One thing about diet as well is to eat your rainbow every day. And I'm not talking about Skittles. I'm talking about red, orange, yellow, green, and indigo, blue, violet, whatever, fruits and vegetables. When you do that, you're getting a good amount of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants every day. And you could do that in one salad. That's what I try to do. Do we do it every day? No, but we strive to do it every day. And then last but not least, a very unsung hero is the S, stands for self-care. As we get older, or just in general, we are just full of stress, right? We live in a stressful world. And when we have high stress in our world, our cortisol levels are high as well. And cortisol just wreaks havoc on our bodies. Again, another topic for another podcast. But when we don't sleep well, our cortisol level goes high. When our cortisol level goes high, we don't sleep well. And then when cortisol levels are high, we tend to gain weight, especially for the midlifers around the midsection, right? The muffin top. And then what stops that? We have to teach ourselves to bring down our own cortisol levels. And that is done through self-care. So I love being creative. All of my life coaches, people that have coached me, and my colleagues have always said that creativity, self-care, that is so important for ourselves as humans. We're creative people, but physiologically, it does bring down our cortisol levels. You'll find that you'll sleep better. You'll find that you're not as tense. You're not, maybe not have as many headaches. So exercise, actually, all of these things on S.W.E.D.S is a form of self-care, but exercise also is a form of self-care. Self-care is not selfish. It's a necessity. People need to have self-care, and you need to self-regulate. So it's not a luxury, right? It's a necessity, is what I meant to say. And we definitely need to make sure every day we do these things, these 5 things, S.W.E.D.S, S.W.E.D.S. And when you do, you'll be able to function better. You'll be able to make decisions better. You'll be able to do your work better, to be present for your family better. But like I always say, you know, self-care, this sweats and self-care is like what they say when you get on an airplane, right? Always put the oxygen mask on yourself. They don't say, hey, put it on the person across from you and from on the little kid first and then put it on yourself. No, put it on yourself first so you're able to help the people around you. Another thing that I always teach my clients and coach at different workshops is I always say, do you remember when you're trying to light a candle on a birthday cake? And what happens when your candle is not lit brightly? You're not able to light all the candles. It gets snuffed out pretty quickly. But if the candle is burning so brightly, like you got to hurry and rush because it's melting, you're able to light all the candles on the cake and keep yourself burning brightly. That candle is you. And how to burn brightly is the amount of self-care you put into your day, into yourself. And I would say, this is what I would try to do. You know, people call it the golden hour or the power hour or the 5 a.m. club. I know another author says this. Try to do all these things before you start your day. Like, don't look at your phone. Like, don't look at the social media, and do these 5 things to help you flourish every day. So that's basically what I wanted to tell you. But I also wanted to tell you that I am this past year, as most of you have known, um, past year and a half has been one of the hardest past years of my life, aside from my father passing away back when I was 29. This past year and a half tested my faith. It tested my mindset. It tested my strength, my physiological and psychological and physical strength. So back in August of 2024, I joined the coach training, and I'll never forget this gal, Coach Sherry Joe. And she says, the best thing that ever happened to me was to get cancer, or cancer was the best thing that ever happened to me. And then shortly after that, I saw this Lifequake on social media, and she was describing her own Lifequake, that she went through something that was meant to completely shake her world upside down, but it actually was meant for something more. And then in September of 2024, I had my own Lifequake. My husband and I were vacationing in my best friend's house up in Lake George. And we were celebrating our 26th wedding anniversary. And I unexpectedly suffered a ruptured brain aneurysm. And it felt like a fire hydrant went off in my head. It was like, it literally felt like a hose. Like it was like, and it was terrifying. Um, as a physician, I knew exactly what was happening to me. I didn't tell Ben at the time because I knew he would freak out. He thought, when it happened, I said, I need to get some air. And eventually I went outside and started vomiting profusely, uncontrollably, and I couldn't stop. And during it, I said to Ben, I said, you need to take me to the emergency room right now. And he thought I just had, we just finished having lunch. He thought I just had like food poisoning. So the first satellite hospital was, I forget now, like 40 minutes away, 20 minutes, I can't remember. But I said, yeah, you just need to take me there as long as you give me like a garbage bag. And the whole way there, I just was vomiting and praying out loud and basically praying to God to not take me at that moment. Ben was racing down the thruway, and about 5 minutes away, he said, we're almost there. Hold on tight. We're just like 5 minutes away. And I said, okay, listen to me and listen to me good because I'm not repeating this. I'm having a ruptured brain aneurysm and I need to be seen right away. I can't be put on a stretcher or on a wheelchair and put in a corner somewhere. I need to be seen right away because I don't know how much time I have to stay lucid and advocate for myself, basically. So he got the assignment. To make a long story short, we got in, we were seen. Again, another story for another podcast, but uh, I was almost helicoptered to my alma mater, Albany Medical College, but we were able to get a ambulance more quickly. And the moment I saw the lights and the siren go off, which means that's very urgent, right? Sometimes you just see the lights, or sometimes you just hear the siren, but to have both, I knew that there was not much more I could do to advocate for myself. But I spent three weeks in the hospital at Albany Med. People come and visit, and that's my alma mater. So I had all my friends who are still in Albany come to see me. I had 3 brain surgeries or procedures, and by the grace of God, the miracle of God, I was able to walk out of the hospital without a walker, without assistance. I had no deficits. Why am I telling you this? It comes off the heels of my good friend Wendy's podcast. That's the episode before this. You need to check it out because she has helped me by being authentic. She's built her whole coaching career on keys to authenticity. And one thing that Ben and I decided to do when we were doing this podcast is that we needed to be completely authentic and vulnerable, like tell you what is going on, all the different things in our lives to a certain extent, and to show that flourishing can be messy. So the vulnerability part is that this past year and a half, I wasn't able to work out every day for this past year and a half. I either had a headache or had nausea or felt a little bit dizzy, that didn't have enough energy. So it's very frustrating because as grateful as I was, and I am to be alive, my body is not the same. I cannot work out like I used to. I cannot lower my head lower than my heart. So things like planks and definitely burpees is out of the question. So I really just have been working out, walking, and anything seated Pilates, seated yoga, weight training that's seated. So, although I lost 20 pounds in the hospital, I gained it all back in the past year and a half between not being able to work out and also a lot of comfort food eating. So, there's I always say, like, coming on, I almost was like, man, maybe I should lose some weight before I did the podcast. And then I'm like, my word. But honestly, I still am my word because I do S.W.E.D.S every day. I strive to do it every day. Some days I don't do all the parts, but even in the hospital, I strive to do it. The exercise part, I wasn't able to always do when I didn't have my physical therapist with me. But I like marched in place while I was laying in bed and made sure I was getting water. I was make sure I was eating well, obviously getting the sleep. And then the self-care, I would either be praying or meditating or just being around the people that loved me and was just absorbing the fact that all the love in the room. And I believe to the core that I'm standing here today, sitting here today in front of you because of S.W.E.D.S, because of my faith. Um, again, another topic for another podcast, but I believed that God was going to help me get through that. And I could feel that from all the prayers that you all sent me, from all the prayers of the people waiting in the waiting room. And again, another topic for another day, but just kind of wanted to come on here and talk about S.W.E.D.S, the 5 ways to flourish every day. And I'm hoping that'll somehow give you some inspiration to take care of yourself. You know, self-care is so important. We don't put enough emphasis on it, but it's really so important to live a good life. So you have to take care of yourself first. Okay. So that's all I have for you today. I'll be back again with an interview next week. And you know, if you had a flourish flash, we call it, please comment. Please put it in the comments or share this episode on your Facebook page or in a text or in an email. Encourage people to join our podcast because we're going to have so many different topics and different insights from different people, not just from myself and from Ben, but something, somewhere, somehow, somebody might be influenced and start on their path of blossoming and flourishing. And that's what the mission is of this whole podcast. So I think that's all I have for you today. And until next time in the hive, be kind and flourish fully. Mwah.